Night falls on the city and inside an apartment. Our hero offers a bowl full of kibble to a little black cat he just found. But the feline just turns its head away with a look of pure disgust. Our MC is confused, wondering why a stray cat would refuse food. At that moment, the kitty thinks about how cruel the world of stray cats can be. Seeing the animal's reaction, an idea pops into our boy's head and he starts to suspect something. So he gets up and dashes to the kitchen, leaving the cat behind. He starts chopping some veggies with insane skill. He cooks like a master chef and more cooking points pop up. When he's done, he offers a plate of rice with pork and bell peppers to the little animal. Now, the cat's reaction is completely different. It's even drooling just looking at the food. Our hero realizes he was right. This creature is a human who's been turned into a cat. And the reason for this whole transformation is likely this golden bracelet on its tail. Suddenly, a bright light shines, and a system screen announces that the divine absorption is complete. The system asks if he wants to activate a new ability, and the answer seems pretty obvious. With a confident smile on his face, our hero accepts the new ability without a second thought. A golden light explodes, and the system confirms the activation was a success. This small light is then absorbed into the palm of our boy's hand. The system screen explains that the new passive ability gives him 2 lives. He's shocked to learn he can revive within 7 days, and the cooldown is only 3 months. Our protagonist thinks this ability is incredible and already imagines how strong the active part will be. But the active part of the skill is locked and needs more divinity to be released. With a dark aura, he considers continuing to siphon the divinity from the little cat, who's still eating. But looking closer, he notices the kitty's body is covered in scars. Our hero then realizes it would be a seriously messed up move to keep taking power from such an injured animal. So, he decides he needs to find another way and gives the full-bellied cat a gentle pat. The feline meows happily, and our boy thinks he can't just abandon it now. With that, he decides to go out and look for clues about divinity and see what the cat does on its own. The door closes, and the little cat is left alone in the apartment. The cat's demeanor changes completely, revealing a serious look and bright green eyes. Meanwhile, in the apartment, the cat stands in the living room with a very serious expression. We see a street called the Outer Ring, a pretty rundown place. It's explained that for the people there, the difficulty of getting into the inner ring is insane. And even if they manage it, the fee is so high it could bankrupt an entire wealthy family. But our protagonist knows there's another way that almost no one knows about. He believes that becoming a martial artist is the solution to all his problems. Suddenly, Abai the Bat calls out to our protagonist. Our hero, with a very intimidating look, wonders what the problem is. The bald guy and his gang stare him down, threatening him for eyeing the same person their boss is. Jing calmly asks which brother he's talking about. And out of nowhere, one of the goons gets hit by a rock from a distance with absurd force. The other guys are confused because they couldn't see what happened. A moment later, another goon takes a rock to the face and goes flying too. Poor guy is knocked out cold after being hit. Shu Jing then taunts the bullies, juggling the small rocks in his hand. A blue crosshair appears in his eye as he activates his marksmanship skill. The group's leader sees his goons on the ground and admits that Shu Jing has a few tricks up his sleeve. But he says that's not enough and unleashes a blue dragon aura for his attack. With his eye glowing, our protagonist watches the punch coming his way. Shu Jing dodges with ease, and the bully's punch shatters the ground. The guy is surprised and wonders if that's some kind of martial art. With an impressed look, he compliments the kid's agility for dodging his attack. Our hero realizes that Pei Yuguang knows martial arts, which makes things easier for him. So, he tells the guy to spill everything he knows, or else he won't show any mercy. The bully doesn't obey and ends up getting thrown against the wall with incredible force. All banged up, the guy gives in and says he'll tell our protagonist anything he wants. Su Jing finds it funny. He thought the guy was a tough act, but he caved way too easily. Turns out, the bully only had that one move, and Shu Jing figured it out instantly. The group leader is furious for being tricked so easily. The system activates the fighting skill, and Shu Jing sees that his aim has improved, even predicting punches. With a gloomy aura, the bully begs not to get beat up anymore. Our protagonist, with his red eyes, asks what that move the guy used before was. The bully explains it wasn't a move but his inner force, which gathers the body's energy. Shu Jing then wants to know how to train that, but the guy plays dumb. Shu Jing doesn't fall for it and grabs him by the collar. He then remembers the rumors about the guy being a crybaby, saying it's all a lie to look tough. Our hero slaps him and warns that if he doesn't learn his lesson, he'll get a beatdown every time he sees him. He even tells the bully to write out a self-criticism 10 times and read it in front of the whole class. The guy cowers in fear, thinking he's in for more pain, but our protagonist just shows him his phone. Our protagonist asks for the dojo's address since the guy can't explain how to train. We then see the massive city buildings at night. Our hero walks through the city's inner ring, following the directions on his phone. The system shows several experience points he gained from the recent fight. He realizes that fighting, even if it's not serious, gives way more XP than just working out. He finally reaches his destination, the Golden Wind Dojo, and thinks the place looks pretty cool. Upon entering, Jing says he's here to visit, but the receptionist asks him to be quiet because the master is in a class. He then peeks into the class happening in the training hall. Inside, a master is teaching a breathing method that's the foundation for activating inner force. Our protagonist gets all excited because this is exactly what he wanted to learn. He asks the receptionist if he can join, and she agrees, blushing at how handsome he is. Our hero thanks her and finds an empty spot to join the class. He sits down to meditate, and the lady wonders if a newbie will be able to do the exercise. The master tells them to inhale as much as they can and hold their breath. The students quickly start struggling to hold their breath, their faces turning red. Even the most promising student can't take it, and the receptionist looks very disappointed. The master stands up. The receptionist, startled by him, asks for a few more days to find someone talented. But the class master completely ignores her. He then stops and tells her to be quiet because our boy is still holding on strong. Our protagonist feels the difficulty and the immense amount of oxygen it requires. A blue energy starts to swirl and expand inside him right as time runs out. He exhales, covered in sweat, and the system announces that his inner force skill has been activated. With that, the master asks how the student feels and if he's in any discomfort. Our hero replies that he actually feels refreshed, with a blue aura surrounding him, that he gets super excited and invites him to join the dojo. But suddenly, a strange red light flashes and shines through the dojo window. Something attacks one of the students, who was meditating. A giant, moth-like monster sucks the student's blood. Everyone is terrified of the creature. The master then tells Manager Jung to maintain order while everyone flees. The horrible creature with red eyes shows its sharp teeth. The monster then decides to attack Manager Jung, who is frozen in place. Our protagonist acts fast and jumps in to save the woman. He shields her with his body, and they both fall to the ground together. The manager thanks him, blushing, and the system gives him another 20 charm points. Jing remembers the explanation about inner force and faces the monster, preparing to fight. Our hero sees the fight as a great chance to test his new ability and focus his energy into his fist. The monster flies toward him, ready to attack. Jing doesn't waste any time and lands a powerful punch right in the middle of the creature. The impact of the blow creates an energy explosion that lights up the entire dojo. Our boy wonders if this thing is as tough as a cockroach. If that's the case, he already knows what he needs to do to end the fight. All of his strength is concentrated into his strike. He activates the 1-inch punch and applies even more force to the blow. The creature is sent flying with the force. The monster then explodes into pieces on the floor. Our protagonist dusts off his shoulder and says the thing was way weaker than it looked. The manager looks on with hard eyes while the master worries about the boy's body. However, one of the creature's legs is still standing, stuck to the floor. The monster regenerates and starts to growl. Jing smiles confidently and says the result will be the same no matter how many times it tries. He gathers all the energy from his QI meridians into his fist. But out of nowhere, our hero starts coughing up blood and has no idea what happened. Seizing the opportunity, the monster leaps at the protagonist. Our protagonist gets scared, thinking he overdid it. Then, a blade of blue energy flies toward the creature. Creature is completely disintegrated. Jing stands there, trying to process what just happened. A voice introduces herself as the captain of the White Crow Squadron. The beautiful woman with white hair calls herself the Void Blade and tells everyone to leave. Our boy has never heard of them and wonders if they're all this strong. The captain notes that Jing, who must be 17, injured the monster with his bare hands. She finds him very handsome and decides she needs to find a way to recruit him. The woman then hands him a card and sets up a meeting for Sunday at 5. Our protagonist remains silent, just holding the small card. Written on the card is the address for their meeting, Qingxing Library, 7th floor. Once outside, the dojo manager worriedly asks if our hero is really okay. She offers to take him to the hospital, but he refuses and says goodbye. The lady excitedly asks him to come back tomorrow, but the dojo master finds that highly unlikely. As our boy walks away, the master reflects on his strength, despite him being a beginner. He thinks a small dojo can't contain him, and the system shows the various points he gained. Our protagonist then thinks about how the 1-inch punch can break any defense. He's eager to feel that sensation of gathering all the QI in his fist again. But when he tries again, he ends up making a funny face and almost chokes on the energy. He remembers the master scolding him for using Chu that way and decides to rest and see how he feels tomorrow. The night deepens in the dark, silent streets of the city. Our hero walks through an alley, thinking about the world's secrets, and decides to go to the address on the weekend. He gets close to his apartment. On his phone, he checks the security camera and catches the black cat messing with his computer. He storms into the room and asks the kitty what it was doing. The feline just meows, sweating nervously, trying to play innocent, but our protagonist isn't buying it. Our hero warns the cat that he'll deal with it after he wakes up. Suddenly, he collapses onto the bed, and the kitty is totally confused. The feline then smells the strong scent of blood coming from Jing. It realizes our boy must have gotten into a serious fight. With its claws out, the animal says that no one has the right to hurt to his person. The cat jumps on Shu Jing's chest and asks what happened. It introduces itself as Ningfengna, and our hero confirms that the creature really can talk. Our protagonist, looking sleepy, says he already knew the cat was a human. He passes out again, and the feline gets desperate, trying to wake him up to find out what went down. The next day, sunlight streams through the apartment window. Thanks to his resurrection ability, Shu Jing wakes up good as new. While he's eating, Ningfengna asks if he defeated a monster instead of getting beat up. Shu Jing simply confirms the story. The feline becomes thoughtful, as it has never heard of monsters invading the city. Shu Jing then gives the little cat a gentle scratch on the head. Our hero thanks the kitty for its concern and calls him Nair, with a smile. The feline gets all flustered and blushes at the affectionate nickname. He demands to be called Sect Leader Lord, but our protagonist just makes fun of him. Shu Jing shows his phone and asks what he was up to on the computer. Ningfengna is completely shocked and terrified, at a loss for words. Ningfengna explains that the ring stuck on his tail is a divine relic and that he was researching it on the internet. Hearing this, Tsuyoshi grabs the kitty's tail and confirms that the golden accessory is indeed a sacred item. He recalls that 287 years ago, a god passed on, and their remains turned into these powerful relics. The main character thinks that he only knew about this stuff from legends, but now he has the chance to see one right in front of him. With a serious look, our hero understands why the object can absorb so much divinity without a hitch. But the feline gets annoyed with the tight grip on his tail and asks how long the human plans to keep this up. Tsuyoshi lets out a fake cough to play it cool and asks if the cat was looking for an instruction manual. However, Ningfengna immediately denies it and says dejectedly that what he really wants is to just get this ring off of his body. The little guy then starts to tell the story of the Dragon Sect, which was the biggest gang in the entire city of Chunqing. They ran everything over there, but they grew too fast and ended up attracting a lot of jealousy from local rivals. That's when he was ambushed in his own home, where they put the ring on him, turning him into this cat. We see in the illustration how he was easily defeated by the mysterious enemy who sealed his fate right then and there. By the time he finally managed to escape, his sect had already been taken over, and he was stuck in this defenseless animal form. As soon as he manages to become human again, the feline promises with a murderous glare that he's going to take them all down. Tsuyoshi then questions the next step, since if the internet didn't help, the library would be a complete waste of time. The feline says with confidence that he already has a plan to solve their situation. His plan is for Tsuyoshi to train in martial arts and get strong, but our hero doesn't see the connection. At that, Ningfengna explains that by doing so, he'll attract organizations and find other relic bearers. Awkwardly, our hero thinks that a few people have already come knocking on his door recently. That's why the little kitty says he's going to introduce him to the best dojo in the city so he can start training right away. Then he asks if the human has ever heard of the famous Hidden Dragon Dojo, leaving him in suspense. Tsuyoshi replies that of course he has, as he knows the place by name. He explains that he looked up the prices of the dojos, and the Hidden Dragons was by far the most expensive of them all. But he remembers it not for the price, but for the absurd amount of negative reviews the place had. Ningfengna calls the authors of the reviews a bunch of weaklings because they can't handle real training to get strong. Our hero then asks how he would even get into such an exclusive dojo. The feline replies that it's simple, he just has to follow the old school rules of the martial world and crash the dojo to prove his worth. He calls it unsophisticated and explains that crashing the dojo is really just an interview. He details that the disciples are divided into tiers, where the paying students are the foundation and the talented ones are in the middle. On the path of martial arts, mentality is everything because an invincible spirit creates an unbeatable fist. The cat says that crashing the dojo is a form of self-recommendation and the best way to prove his spirit. Afterwards, the feline says his goodbyes and tells our hero to go to the dojo tomorrow while he takes care of a few things. The next day, the city wakes up to a bright sun, and our hero prepares for his mission. Tsuyoshi then arrives at the Hidden Dragon Dojo and is greeted by one of the local instructors. The protagonist introduces himself and shakes hands with the side character, who greets him with a confident smile. But the instructor applies a lot of force to the handshake, and our hero realizes that this is some kind of test. Thinking it's a test, our boy decides to take it seriously and focuses his true Chi into his hand to crush the instructors. However, his grip is much stronger, and the instructor starts screaming in pain, begging him to let go. The other students laugh at the martial arts fanatic who always loses his little contests. Suddenly, someone announces that the old master of the dojo and his direct disciples are arriving in the hall. The group is led by Meng Boshang along with Li Qi, Zhu Shaning Meng Qingjio, and Chen Fuguang. In the master's lap is Ningfengna, and Tsuyoshi wonders what he's doing there. The old master then shouts, telling everyone to be quiet, and the room falls into absolute silence. He approaches in his wheelchair and asks if Tsuyoshi is the young man who came to crash the dojo. Our hero confirms that he's the one and faces the master without fear. The master says it's been a long time since anyone dared to crash his dojo and questions if the young man thinks he's qualified. Tsuyoshi gets confused and checks his stats, noticing that his combat levels are still very low. Because of this, the old man proposes asking a few questions, and our hero respectfully agrees with the idea. Asks his name, Tsuyoshi, his age 17, and where he lives with his parents. The questions get weirder and weirder, and he starts to wonder if he's in a marriage interview. The master laughs and says that for a future son-in-law, he naturally needs to ask a few more questions. At this, our hero and the cat look at each other, completely confused, not understanding a thing that's happening. One of the female disciples interrupts, saying that to know if he's qualified, they need to fight first. The girl volunteers for the fight and, with a smile, warns him that she'll go easy on him. Tsuyoshi gets into a fighting stance and invites her to start whenever she's ready for the duel. The other students are surprised to see their junior-senior sister stepping up personally. One of the extras comments that the boy is toast and that his fate is sealed today. The feline gets irritated and thinks, why are they still competing if they've already talked about marriage? The fighter advances quickly and warns our hero to watch out for her imminent attack. Seeing the approaching danger, Ningfangna screams Tsuyoshi's name, completely desperate. With that, the waifu activates a skill and charges toward our hero to attack. However, the protagonist dodges the punch with surprising agility and no difficulty at all. Then, in a swift movement, he grabs the girl's wrist and stops her attack midway. Taking advantage of the fighter's momentum, he flips her over his shoulder with incredible ease. The girl falls to the ground, completely dizzy and unable to understand how she was defeated so quickly. The other disciples are impressed with his precise vision and positioning. The master laughs with satisfaction and praises the feline for finding such a great prospect for the dojo. Tsuyoshi then asks if his dojo crash was successful while the system shows his gains. For defeating Zhu Shanning without any training, he is qualified to be a direct disciple. With a wide smile, the old man says it's time to change how they address each other. Our hero processes all the new information. He then bows and greets everyone, becoming the 7th junior brother of the dojo. The girl introduces herself as Zhu Shanning, his 6th sister, and warns him not to get arrogant. He thanks her for the advice and realizes that before him, she was the youngest of the group. One of the women calls him young Master Tsuyoshi and invites him to take care of the admission procedures. The master explains that he is now a resident of the inner circle, so the title of young master is appropriate. But our hero feels uncomfortable and asks if they can change the title to something less formal. The woman suggests Master Jing, and he reluctantly agrees, saying that the important thing is that they are happy. After the procedures, the scene changes to the dojo's break room, where they can relax a bit. In the room, Tsuyoshi comments that crashing the dojo was easier than expected and that the girl went down in one hit. However, the feline corrects him on the spot, saying that she's actually much stronger than he imagines. A chart shows that the girl's stats are superior and that martial arts isn't just about numbers. The protagonist then realizes that she underestimated him, and the cat confirms that, if she had been cautious, the outcome would have been different. He then reflects that he won by pure luck, and that he still needs to train a lot more to get strong. He asks where the cat spent the night, and he replies that he had to visit Grandpa Ali to secure the spot. The feline reveals that this, Grandpa Ali, almost stole his own grandfather's girlfriend in the past, which surprises our hero. The woman returns and hands him an ID card to access the dojo, and the system awards him more charm points. The next day, one of the students comments that he heard the new guy trained all night without stopping. We see our hero training intensely, and the system shows his gains and his inner strength leveling up. The master encourages him to keep going and to hold on a little longer as he gains more inner strength points. He pushes himself to the limit to not waste the training, and the system shows more inner strength points. With that, a golden light shines, and the system announces that his inner strength has risen to level 3. But the effort is so great that our hero collapses on the floor, completely exhausted after the training. The master praises him and says that of all the disciples he's ever had, Tsuyoshi is the strongest of them all. Soon, he will be able to cultivate the secret method of the Hidden Dragon sect, leaving the boy breathless. The protagonist then asks what level he needs to reach, and the old man thinks the boy is a true martial arts fanatic. Meng Bosheng extends his hand and asks the young man to hold it to begin the next test. Not understanding, he takes the master's hand and wonders if they're going to train again so soon. Suddenly, the master's eyes turn red, and he seems to concentrate with immense force. Then, a large amount of true Q begins to flow from the master directly into our hero's body. The energy is so powerful that he can't resist it and feels completely overwhelmed by the force. The old man releases his hand and asks what sports he plays, and Tsuyoshi replies that he just goes for a run every now and then. The boy gets worried and asks if there's something wrong with his body, but the master assures him there's no problem. He explains that the young man's body seems to have been shaped by a god with OCD because everything is perfectly balanced. In short, he's a martial arts prodigy, and our hero understands that this is thanks to his skill panel. Our hero asks if he can learn the cultivation method, but the master tells him not to be in such a hurry. Meng Bosheng explains that the young man's body is covered in injuries after training all night. Therefore, cultivating now would be the same as willingly walking into a disaster. Tsuyoshi then questions what he should do to recover. The old man tells him to go to the hall and says he will send the sleeping dragon Ointment to him. Later that night, the facade of the hidden dragon dojo stands out in the city. Inside a room, the protagonist hears a knock on the door and tells the person to come in. Then, Zhu Shaning enters the room with a vial and says she came to treat his wounds. He is surprised and scared, wondering if the waifu has come to get her revenge for the defeat. The girl then apologizes for her defeat and says she's here to treat his wounds, asking him to take off his shirt. Our hero complies and she's impressed by his physique, then asks him to lie down. He lies down on the bed, and the system notifies him with another 45 charm points as she tells him not to move. Next, the girl starts squeezing out the ointment, and Shujing gets a little suspicious. With a smile on her face, the girl tells him not to budge, and our hero wonders what she's planning to do. The girl then starts spreading the ointment on his chest and tells him not to stare at her like that. With a teasing look, she says that she's actually pretty competitive and continues with the massage. Our protagonist notices her grip is quite strong and feels a bit of pain from the treatment. Seeing that he doesn't say anything, the girl asks him why he's so quiet. Shujing replies that it's nothing and that everything is fine as long as his big sis is happy. At this, the girl gets flustered and admits she lost, because she was careless and just wanted to get back at him by teasing him. Several system notifications pop up, and she timidly asks if he's not mad at her. Our protagonist says he's not mad, it just stung a little, and tells her to continue without worrying. She then says the upper part is done and asks why he doesn't take off his pants. In a panic, Shujing says he'll take care of the lower half himself so as not to bother her with it. The girl starts laughing and says she was just messing with him, seeing how freaked out he got. Then she says that for what comes next, the 7th junior brother can take care of himself. Said she leaves the room, humming, leaving our protagonist alone and completely clueless. Out on the street, the system displays the experience points he earned, and Shujing thinks about the scare the girl gave him. With that, his fighting skills and inner strength level up, and he decides to head to the meeting at the library. Our protagonist then thinks about the White Crow Squad and concludes it must be some kind of special police organization. But he wonders why on earth they would want to meet in a library, of all places. After a bit of a walk, our guy finally reaches his destination, the Qingxing Library. Arriving on the 7th floor, he finds it weird that the place is completely empty and wonders if he's being pranked. Just then, a voice calls out to him, and our hero turns to see who it is. A blonde woman introduces herself as Wu Yuking, and Shu Jing asks where Void Blade is. Another voice explains that she's his informant and, because it was a private referral, they couldn't meet at the police station. The blonde says that at first she had her doubts, but after seeing him in person, she gave him her stamp of approval. Sitting in a chair, the woman invites him to join their organization. Our protagonist sits down and asks on what grounds she's inviting him. The blonde woman asks if he wasn't interested in learning about the divine relics. Shu Jing is floored by her question, having no idea how she found out. She then smiles and says she guessed right, asking him how he learned about the relics. Our protagonist refuses to answer and wonders what her real deal is. The woman then grabs a bottle of water to pour them a drink. She says it doesn't matter if he doesn't want to talk and admits it was her mistake not to provide information first. She then gestures to the cup and asks him to try the drink. Our protagonist obeys and takes a sip of the water from the cup. He then asks if it isn't just plain water, since he couldn't taste anything. With a smile, the blonde pours the rest of the water into a glass teapot. Right after, she serves our hero's cup again with the water from the teapot. She asks him to try it again, but he still thinks it's just water and wonders what she's up to. Even though he's suspicious, our guy decides to try the drink one more time to see what happens. Surprised, our protagonist realizes the water has suddenly turned sweet with no explanation. The woman then reveals that 287 years ago, a god passed away. She continues, saying that to be more precise, the deity perished, and its points of light scattered. These points of light were called God's blood by the people who witnessed the phenomenon. The divine blood then fell upon objects, living beings, and even into human imagination. With that, the things that received this power became divine relics, like the sweet water kettle. Our protagonist is skeptical and asks to see the item, thinking she just slipped some sugar into the water. Upon touching the kettle, the system absorbs divinity, and he realizes he can use this to activate his ability. Holding the item, Shu Jing asks what its function is, if it just makes water sweet, or if it boils it out of nowhere. The girl laughs and says he was close but no cigar, finding it cute how clueless he seems about the world. He notices the water level doesn't go down and asks if it's infinite, and the blonde praises his smarts. With the points he gained, our hero finally has enough to activate his ability. She then says that as a star student, he should understand what that implies. With his eyes shining, our protagonist realizes the object ignores the laws of the world. He compares it to a perpetual motion machine and wonders if the city's energy has something to do with it. The girl tells him not to overthink it because that's just how relics are, and he asks why she told him everything. She reveals that she knows he defeated a monster 3 days ago with a normal body and without a shred of fear. The woman praises him, saying his spiritual level has already surpassed that of most ordinary people. With that in mind, she extends her hand and invites him to join the Divine Relic Containment Company. Our protagonist then grabs her hand tightly and begs to join the team, leaving the woman completely surprised. He shouts that he'll obey her every command and that he absolutely has to get into that awesome workplace. Shujing thinks that with this opportunity, he'll get his hands on tons of relics and can finally get rich. He reflects that these items are the only source of divinity and that with them, no one in the world will be able to beat him. The blonde then comments that he seems like someone who's never seen the world, getting so worked up over everything. Right after, she turns and pulls a document from her bag to hand to our hero. The paper is an employment contract, and the girl asks him to look it over and sign if there are no issues. Reading the terms, Shujing sees it's a standard work contract with an extra non-disclosure agreement. But a clause about compensation in case of incidents seems off, and he wonders if the job is dangerous. The woman explains that the relics are divided into 4 danger levels, ranging from D to A. Our hero asks about the A-level relics, and she replies that the government handles those. Shujing, still suspicious, asks why she chose him when she barely knows him, thinking something is fishy. With a mysterious smile, the blonde replies that he's mistaken about one thing. She reveals that he wasn't the one who contacted the relic contacted him. Our protagonist is confused by this revelation and asks what she means by that. The woman then explains that the divine items seem to possess a certain degree of self-will. Because of this, the relics actively approach people who attract them in some way. And among humans, there's a type of person who draws these items, and she's one of them. The girl points her finger directly at our protagonist with a serious look. The blonde reveals that he has the same constitution as her, and the salary they're offering proves their sincerity. Reading the contract, Shujing sees the salary of 200,000 and understands why they wanted him so badly. He pretends not to care about the money and says he's just really into the relics as he signs the contract. With a smile, he hands over the signed contract and asks her to look out for him from now on. The girl takes the paper and says their cooperation will be great, then says her goodbyes and leaves. Alone, our hero thinks that between the dojo and the new job, he won't have any time for school. So he texts a friend, asking him to tell the school he's bedridden with a nasty bug. Shujing reflects that the most urgent task now is to boost his strength so he has a fighting chance of getting back home. With that, he decides to test his new active skill and summons his system, named A-Ban. The system shows that the skill can be activated, and our protagonist confirms the action immediately. With that, several enhancement options appear, and he understands he can double one of his abilities. He dismisses defense since he already has resurrection armor, and strength because he's focusing on his aim. So, Shujing decides to pick movement speed to test just how powerful the skill is. To do this, our hero looks at a lamppost about 100 meters away and decides to run it to time himself. He then shoots down the street, running as fast as he can to get the first measurement. The stopwatch clocks in at just over 10 seconds, which is a very good time for that distance. Our protagonist thinks the result is decent and gets ready to run back, activating his skill. In a starting stance, the boy focuses and activates Twin Life for the second test. With a golden glow surrounding him, our protagonist starts sprinting down the street with everything he's got. His speed is so incredible that he becomes just a golden blur on the path. He sees that his time was 5 seconds, exactly half of the previous one, and he's blown away. Our protagonist then reflects that for a person to improve from 20 to 12 seconds is pretty simple. All it takes is some intense training for a while to hit that mark. But after that, every 10th of a second requires 1,000 times more effort, along with immense talent and resources. He thinks that in a close-quarters fight where you can't afford a single mistake, this skill would be perfect for catching an enemy off guard. With the skill activated, no one could possibly predict an acceleration that defies all logic and intuition. Shujing concludes that with this advantage, the first strike would be a guaranteed end for his opponent. Our protagonist smiles proudly, thinking that this is a truly divine skill that ignores all rules and physical limits. Fired up, he decides to test the skill a few more times while his body is still warmed up. But he gets annoyed when he sees the skill has a cooldown and complains to the system about it. He calculates that only 20 seconds have passed and realizes he'll have to use the skill sparingly. The system shows the skill is unavailable, and our hero has no idea when it will be ready again. Seeing there's nothing more he can do for now, he decides it's best to head home and rest. Arriving home at night, his whole body is aching, and all he can think about is taking a shower and getting a good night's sleep. Exhausted, our protagonist remembers that he still has to go to the dojo for training the next day. Overcome with extreme fatigue, Xu Jing ends up passing out in the hallway before he can even make it inside. Sometime later, he wakes up in the same spot, confused and with no idea what happened. Our protagonist grabs his phone and is shocked to see it's already 6:30 in the morning and he's been asleep for 6 hours. He then wonders why the heck he was sleeping in the hallway instead of his own bed. Our protagonist then checks the skills recovery and calculates that for every second of use, there's a 1,000-second cooldown. Just then, a message pops up on his phone. His big sis is asking why he hasn't shown up for training yet. In a panic, Xu Jing realizes he's late and bolts out of the building so he won't miss practice. After running through the city streets for a while, he finally arrives at his destination, the Hidden Dragon Dojo. He then makes a dramatic entrance, throwing the doors open with a swift move and drawing everyone's attention. Inside, the girl from the dojo has some guy pinned to the floor and calls out to our hero as soon as she sees him. She then gets up and says he's just in time for what she had planned. The girl then pulls him by the hand and challenges him to a match to demonstrate the proper use of Jin force. Seeing this, the other students start whispering that the girl will win easily since he's just a newbie. Xu Jing realizes she just wants to get her win back and that this time, she won't be going easy on him. Our protagonist doesn't mind and thinks it's the perfect chance to test out his new skill in combat. With a confident smile, he gets ready for the fight and the system activates his twin life skill. The fight rages on and Zhu Shanning charges straight at Xu Jing. She throws a lightning fast strike, but Xu Jing pulls off a wild move, showing off his insane speed. Using that surprising speed, he catches Zhu's arm. He immediately uses her momentum against her, flipping the script and slamming her onto the ground. Totally floored, she's completely baffled, wondering how she lost even when going all out. Xu Jing then smugly says she let him win and bam, he scores 97 combat experience points. On top of that, he gets 81 points in physical fitness and 49 in health preservation. Continuing his farm, he also racks up another 26 points in marksmanship and 69 in sports. Our MC reflects on his ability and realizes the system no longer sees him as the weaker one. He cracks a little smirk, realizing just how OP his skill is and that he needs to focus on using his speed. Suddenly, his 5th senior brother pops up, calling him to practice the hibernating dragon technique. Xu Jing is all in, immediately asking the guy to teach him the technique. Over in the training room, the 5th brother is floored by what he sees. He can't believe that in just one night, Xu Jing was already on the verge of cultivating dragon QI, because after just half an hour of training, our MC had already manifested an insane dragon aura. He's blown away by Xu Jing's progress. There's a legendary physical state in the martial world. This state is called the treasure body, and it means turning your own body into a priceless artifact. This level, the body needs to achieve 5 types of perfection. The first is having muscles that house dragons and elephants, with an absurd amount of power. On top of that, you need iron tendons, indestructible jade bones, and even golden blood. However, the 5th brother says it's all just a myth, since no one has ever actually pulled it off. But our MC thinks otherwise, believing he can become that very martial arts legend. All of a sudden, a deafening crash echoes through the room as someone smashes through the window. Xu Jing whips around to see what the heck just happened. His brother is in total shock and yells the name of the dojo's eldest senior brother. The floor is covered in glass shards from the guy's dramatic entrance. He then introduces the man as Meng Boshang, the eldest and strongest brother of the Hidden Dragon Dojo. Boshang is a muscle-obsessed maniac who hates trouble but believes might makes right. Xu Jing instantly gets why he came in through the window. The guy simply doesn't like using doors. Our main character is intrigued by the arrival of this new and eccentric master. Xu Jing looks out the window and wonders just how much strength it takes to jump from the ground all the way to the top floor. Meanwhile, the 5th brother asks Meng Boshang if he was looking for him. The big guy just replies with a dopey, looking kinda spaced out and clueless about the situation. After that, the guy says goodbye to Xu Jing, but not before giving him one last piece of advice. He says the essence of the hibernating dragon technique is yielding and shaping force. Our MC repeats the words and gets a huge idea right as the two of them just jump out the window. He then puts his hand on the floor to test out his new theory. Xu Jing sits down to meditate, thinking about combining this new idea with his marksmanship skill. 3 hours fly by with our MC completely dialed in on his training. He continues to meditate, taking deep breaths and focusing all his energy. Xu Jing stays focused and starts to shape his ki in a different way. With all that built-up energy, he unleashes his new ability. It causes a massive blast inside the room. He's impressed as he was expecting way less from the technique. Then suddenly, someone walks into the room, clapping. It was the master who had arrived with Zhu Shannian and was praising Xu Jing's great talent for sports. Right after, the old man offers a small golden pill to Xu Jing and tells him to eat it. Without hesitating, Xu takes the little pill and quickly tosses it back. All of a sudden, the master unleashes a powerful aura and tells the boy to look directly at him. Our main character is completely confused, with no idea what's going on around him. In the blink of an eye, he's transported to a weird place and wonders what the master just did. In this strange place, a golden light begins to shine intensely at the center of everything. From this light, a gigantic energy dragon emerges, leaving Xu Jing in awe. The mythical creature's golden, flame-tinged eyes snap open. Xu Jing's own eyes reflect the dragon's golden light. Suddenly shows changes, he now has golden scales. In reality, our MC feels a splitting headache. He realizes his QI is going totally haywire and suspects it was because of the pill. To try and calm himself, he takes a deep breath and tries to get all the energy under control. He uses the hibernating dragon technique to try and calm the chaotic energy inside his body. He's trying his hardest to hold his breath. Back in his mental space, he feels amazing, as all his thoughts have vanished. Suddenly, a glowing golden dragon claw appears with an intense shine. The entire creature reveals itself, and Xu Jing understands what he needs to do to master it. He just needs to focus on his practice while the massive mythical beast coils around him. The powerful golden energy takes over everything. His eyes change color and the system activates the visualization ability at level 1. After a moment, his eyes return to normal, and he seems to have understood what happened. Xu Jing returns to reality, confused, and the master explains that his Q was almost shot. The old man congratulates him for cultivating Dragon Q, and Xu Jing asks what he means. The master then begins to explain that this so-called Dragon Q is basically a type of emotion. He uses the example of the extra oomph you get when you're angry or in a life or death fight. The technique of stimulating emotions is the QI of movement, and the technique controlling them is the QI of quietude. If Xu Jing combines the two, he'll succeed in everything he does. Xu Jing gets hyped up and immediately asks how he can train this new ability. But the master just smiles and says our boy has already grasped the essence of it all. Xu is confused by the answer and tries to think about what the old man said. He then remembers that distraction-free state he felt while meditating. Suddenly, a light bulb goes off in his head and he has a major epiphany. Xu Jing remembers everything from his past life, and even old math problems seem like a piece of cake now. He realizes he's gotten smarter, but the master says this is just the beginning. On top of that, normal things no longer affect his emotions, and his imagination has gotten stronger. Picture a giant dragon in perfect, crystal clear detail. Our main character wonders if this is the true essence of the visualization ability. The master says talking is useless and calls Qingjiao to fight him. The girl wolfs down her snack without a shred of shame. The old man says her movement control is the best of the best. Not even her father can compare. Xu Jing takes off his jacket, wondering if she's even stronger than his 6 senior sister. Confident and with a messy mouth, Qingjiao taunts Xu, telling him to bring it on. The fight begins and Xu Jing rushes her. But Qingjiao lands a palm strike right on Xu's chest, sending him flying backward. Meanwhile, the master watches it all with a smile, saying the boy's intentions are obvious. Xu Jing is stunned by her strength and wonders if she's stronger than his own golden finger. As for Qingjiao, she just dusts off her hands with an air of superiority, as if the fight is already over. But our MC gets back up, a serious look in his eyes, and challenges her again. He says he'll do whatever it takes to win this time, no matter how low or cruel he has to be. After all, in martial arts, the one left standing is the winner, and the one on the floor is the loser. Qingjiao doesn't waste a second, landing a powerful kick that sends Xu Jing flying once more. Even on the ground, our MC asks to keep going, his eye glowing as his ability activates. Their training is so intense that their grunts and yells echo through the building all day long. They keep fighting nonstop until the sun finally starts to set on the horizon. Back in the fight, Xu Jing can now dodge Qingjiao's attacks with much more precision. And in an opening, he manages to land a hit on Qingjiao for the first time with a powerful punch to the gut. The punch sends her skidding backward from the impact. Xu Jing is a little confused by the strange feeling in his hand after the punch. Suddenly, the master stops the fight, catching Qingjiao to keep her from falling. He says that's enough for today, and that training's over. The old man also says Qingjiao must be hungry, and tells her to go rest as her stomach rumbles. Xu Jing asks why she never says anything. The master sighs and says that's a long story he'll save for another time. After that, the old man asks our main character how he felt about the training. Xu Jing replies that he's exhausted but really happy, and the system shows his updated stats. He realizes that fighting Qingjiao for 4 hours gave him a massive experience boost. Later that night, our MC is walking down a deserted street on his way home. When he arrives, he walks in calling for Nair, saying he brought fried chicken. But no one answers and he wonders where she could have gone so late. Suddenly, he notices a bright light coming from the bathroom. Xu Jing gets to the apartment and spots just one pair of shoes, figuring his cat must be home alone. He remembers she has enemies and starts imagining someone has locked her in the bathroom. In a panic, our MC makes a mad dash and busts down the bathroom door, screaming her name. To his surprise, he finds the little kitty Warner, just chilling in a bubble bath, totally relaxed. She gets super embarrassed and splashes water at him, yelling for him not to look. Xu Jing tries to cool things down, holding out his hand and telling her the fried chicken he brought is going to get cold. Upon hearing the magic words fried chicken, Warner is completely mesmerized. With that, our guy ends up getting into the tub to help the kitty wash up. The little feline's mind short circuits, torn between the bath and the delicious fried chicken. Suddenly, a system notification pops up, and Warner's tail starts to glow intensely. The light gets brighter and brighter as her little paw touches our MC's chest. Everything becomes so bright that Shu Jing can barely keep his eyes open. When the light fades, he realizes the paw touching him is now a delicate human hand. Shocked, he sees that the kitty has transformed into a beautiful, delicate girl with cat ears. Our MC asks how she turned human, but the girl seems just as confused about the situation as he is. Realizing what's happened, Warner screams in desperation for Shu Jing not to look at her. She quickly covers our guy's eyes with her tail while he tries to calm her down, insisting he didn't see a thing. Still super embarrassed, Juan asks if he's really telling the truth. He confirms he wouldn't lie to her and suggests they get out of the tub to talk things over. All of a sudden, Warner feels something strange brush against her, making her let out a little yelp. Shu Jing asks what's wrong, but she stammers nervously that it was absolutely nothing. She complains about transforming at such a bad time, and he guesses they must have met the Relic's activation condition. Confused by everything, Warner repeats his words about this so-called condition. From there, she starts to recall the moments leading up to her big transformation. She remembers feeling a little affection for him while he was giving her head pats in the tub. She's outraged that a few fuzzy feelings and some fried chicken turned her into a human with ears and a tail. Given the situation, she warns him not to get any funny ideas because it was all just an accident. Warner's face turns completely red after something brushes past her again in the tub. Startled, she asks what he's doing. Shu Jing explains that he can't control his reaction, and if she doesn't get out soon, he's going to completely lose it. She tells him to close his eyes, and she'll move her tail from his face. But as she tries to get out of the tub, Warner slips on the soapy water and lets out a little shriek. Because of that, she tumbles right back down and ends up sitting squarely in our MC's lap again. Shu Jing is left completely speechless and beat, read by the totally unexpected situation. Warner apologizes sheepishly, saying she absolutely did not do that on purpose. But upon feeling something different again, she wonders if that's going to happen again. She lets out a few little yelps. She starts to move around weirdly in the tub, making a suspicious face. Shu Jing asks her to be a little gentler, because moving like that is just making things even more complicated. With a teary face, she says it was an accident. Shu replies that he knows, but asks her to get out quickly while he can still hold back. But if she takes any longer, she might not be able to leave so easily. Hearing that warning, Warner doesn't think twice and bolts out of the bathroom as fast as she can. Slams shut, leaving our MC all by himself. Alone in the tub, he lets out a long sigh of relief, finally able to relax a bit. An hour later, he gets out of the bath and finds Warner on the couch. Shu asks why she changed back. She explains that after she calmed down, she turned back into a cat and now she can't turn human anymore. Our guy tries to give her a little pat on the head to see if she'll calm down a bit, but she's still mad at him and dodges the head pat. Shu Jing understands her reaction and figures it's normal for her to not want any contact after what happened. So, he says he knows someone who understands relics and might be able to help with the transformation. The little kitty starts to imagine what she would do if she could become human one more time. She sees herself dominating our MC in a very bossy and fun way. The little feline lets out a mischievous chuckle on the couch, just thinking about the possibility. Our MC just looks at her, completely clueless about her strange and highly suspicious laugh. The night passes peacefully, and a new day dawns with the sun lighting up the whole living room. Upon waking up, Shu Jing gets a system notification that his health preservation has leveled up. He then turns over in bed and sees the little kitty sleeping soundly beside him, all curled up. Suddenly, his phone starts buzzing, and he grabs it to see who's texting him so early. It's a work message, telling him to get to a location quickly because they need him there. Our MC breaks into an excited smile because a new job has finally come his way. Following the message, Shu Jing arrives at the Qingqing Library, the location of his new job. He looks around confused because Wu Yuqing called him over but she hasn't arrived yet. Then our protagonist spots a young woman with glasses sitting at a table in the back. For a moment, he just stands there, watching the woman. That's when he realizes that woman is actually Wu Yuqing herself, the one who called him. The woman then gives a slight smile and slowly begins to take off her glasses. Without the accessory, she compliments him, saying his consciousness intensity is quite high. Shu's eyes sparkle a bit, and he gets a little flustered by her compliment. She's surprised that he found her so quickly, even with the relic as disguise. At this, the woman's face turns red, and she gives him a very subtle smile. Wu Yuqing lets out a little cough to try and hide her embarrassment at that moment. Shu Jing also feels awkward about the situation and pretends to look away. She shows him the glasses, explaining they're a relic that diminishes the user's presence. As he holds the object, a system notification pops up, absorbing the divinity from the glasses. Finally, she explains that when you take the item off, the suppressed presence explodes, making you more attractive. Xu Jing is relieved to understand he didn't just turn into a creep out of nowhere. It was just the effect of the glasses. With that, he pulls himself together and asks about the job she mentioned in the text earlier. Wu Yuqing hands him a document and explains that it's a very special rank C containment mission. She reveals the target is a divine relic called the Crown of Glory, which heightens primal desires. The current user is Lu Huiying, who can't control herself whenever she sees a handsome man nearby. Faced with this situation, our MC puts on the glasses and realizes they were practically made for him. Wu Yuqing compliments his appearance and says that when he takes the glasses off, he'll basically overload her desires. That way, he'll be able to remove the crown easily, which is why the containment mission is all his. Our protagonist gets tense when he realizes the plan is to use him as bait. Despite that, he thinks the job is perfect for farming divinity from the two relics. With a mischievous grin, he imagines wearing the glasses for 10 years straight, just to see what would happen. He strikes a pose and pictures himself at the top of the heavens, leaving Wu Yuqing confused. Snapping back to reality, he asks if the glasses are hers, but the woman says she borrowed them. Xu Jing is surprised to learn there are other containment companies just like theirs. He thought their company was one of a kind, but she explains that they're all a little special. She then compares their line of work to being glorified street sweepers, which leaves Xu Jing feeling a little awkward. Right after, Wu Yuqing explains that there are thousands of known divine relics around the world. These relics can be anything, like a golden comb glowing in someone's hand. From there, any object could be a relic, like a golden goblet in a young woman's hand. Because of this, their job is dangerous, as a relic can appear at any moment. Our protagonist asks if they have partnerships, and she says the state outsources the service. But Wu Yuqing warns him to be careful, as other companies are only in it for the mission money. Xu Jing gets the message and nods, showing he'll be on the lookout. Changing the subject, he says he wants to test the glasses effect, leaving Wu Yuqing confused. And so, he takes off the glasses with a smile as the system absorbs the item's divinity. At that, her heart starts racing and her eyes sparkle as she beholds our MC's charm. A charm notification pops up, and Xu Jing realizes the glasses effect is seriously powerful. Then we see a bustling street with a yellow bus passing by peacefully. Inside the vehicle, our protagonist is sitting and reading the mission file to prepare himself. The file shows the profile of Lu Huiying, a 45-year-old who frequents bars and nightclubs. Xu Jing notes that Lu Huiying's activities are pretty standard for an underworld queenpin. Using the crown's power, she has already conquered a territory and formed the Small Rose Gang. Since then, she attacks local men every day, constantly draining their vitality. At the same time, the villain's Crown of Glory constantly increases the user's desire. Because of this, the greater her desire, the stronger the bonus to her abilities. If no one stops her, the crown's power will continue to accumulate forever, without any control. The only way to solve this is to take the crown from her so that everything can go back to normal. Finally, in the South District, our protagonist gets off the bus, adjusting his glasses for the mission. In the Southern District, a massive brawl is breaking out, and one guy takes a nasty blow to the face that makes him spit blood. With that, the person behind the bat comments that the feeling of being able to do whatever you want is just awesome. Right after, we see the owner of the club is a woman in a dress and crown, screaming that she can do whatever she wants and will beat up anyone who tries to control her. Watching from a distance is Xu Jing, who thinks this woman seems incredibly childish and dramatic. However, upon looking at the crown on her head, our main character realizes he's seen it somewhere before. Meanwhile, the woman intimidates an old man, asking where his two sons are since she hasn't seen them today. From there, she approaches the man with a sinister smile and says she obviously wants the two young men for herself. Hidden, Xu Jing complains about his situation, thinking he'd rather take a dirt nap than have to seduce that crazy lady. At the same time, a new group of guys shows up, and one of them says that with brother Duanhin here, the woman named Lu Huiying is toast. Our MC notices the rival group's arrival and decides to stay hidden to see how things play out. The gang leader, named Duan Caping, yells at Lu Huiying, saying he heard she's been pretty arrogant lately. Faced with the situation, the leader of the Rose Gang, Lu Huiying, is totally unfazed and asks who the heck he is. Right behind her, some of her bruised and battered gang members point at Duan Caping and say he's the one who left them like that. Lu Huiying then faces her enemy, and with a mischievous grin, comments that up close, he's actually got a nice body. To top it off, she gives her lips a provocative lick and asks if the young man wants to come and play with his big sis. Duan Caping completely loses it at her provocation and starts letting the insults fly. Right after, he charges at her with a powerful punch, screaming for her to give back his turf. The woman, however, easily dodges all his strikes while Duan Caping calls her a coward. The showdown, our MC finally gets at this place used to belong to Duan's gang and was taken over by the Rose Gang. At that point, the gang leader orders all his men to attack, and the Rose Gang gets ready for the brawl too. In the middle of the chaos, a member of the enemy gang lands a brutal hit on one of Lu Huiying's allies. Seeing her comrade hurt, the woman screams his name in despair and gets ready to jump into the fray. With a deadly glare, she gets furious with the Razor Gang for ruining her fun. Doankaping cracks a mocking smile and comments that the woman finally decided to fight for real. So, he announces he's about to show his real skills, and the two of them charge at each other. Watching the fight, our main character keeps a close eye on every move the two leaders make. With the impact of the attack, the woman is thrown hard against a metal door, which is completely destroyed. But she emerges from the rubble without a single scratch and, with a sinister smile, says the real fun is about to begin. RMC is surprised by the resilience and strength the Rose Gang leader just showed. In a swift move, she lunges forward with a powerful kick aimed at Doankaping to counter his attack. Her kick stirs up a massive cloud of dust, and our MC just watches the chaos from afar, impressed by her power. From there, Xu Jing realizes that Doankaping is no random scrub, as his hand can slice through iron like it's mud. Even with a hit like that, Lu Haiying only gets a scratch and keeps smiling as if nothing happened. Our main character analyzes the fight and sees that Duan is stronger, but the woman is just too tough, and he can't seem to hurt her. With that, the fight continues, and Lu Huiying takes advantage of an opening to land a direct blow to her opponent's chest. A system notification pops up for Xu Jing, informing him that the divinity absorption is complete. With this, he can choose a new power, and since he picked speed last time, our MC decides to go for physical strength now. Now with the upgrade, Xu Jing is curious to find out just how strong he's become with this new ability. His eyes glow with blue energy as he prepares to test his new power in practice. And so, our main character dashes forward at high speed and prepares a direct attack, his hand glowing. The blow lands squarely on Doankaping's arm, who screams in pain from the force of the sudden impact. Lu Huiying is completely shocked by the surprise attack and looks around, trying to figure out who is responsible. She yells for the mysterious attacker to show themselves while everyone on the scene is down and confused. Doankaping gets up furiously, cursing the attacker for the cheap shot, and decides it's time to leave. His buddies help him escape while shouting at the woman that they'll be back for revenge. After the rival gang flees, Lu Haiying mutters that the surprise attack actually stung a little. At that moment, she and her gang notice someone slowly approaching them. The woman eyes the newcomer suspiciously and asks if he was the one who just attacked. With his hands in his pockets, our MC confirms it was him, and the woman immediately asks if he's armed. Xu Jing replies that he won't need a weapon to deal with her, as he can tell her fighting style is pretty amateurish. Faced with the young man's confidence, the Rose Gang leader is left completely stunned and speechless. And so, our main character gets ready to fight, saying he'll take her down without messing up his look. Lu Huiying just scoffs at the situation, saying the only place he could ever handle her is in the bedroom. The taunt doesn't faze Xu Jing, who just focuses as a golden aura begins to form around him. The woman notices the shift in energy and starts to wonder if this kid is actually strong. Right after, a giant beast-shaped aura emerges around our MC, making the situation tense. Completely spooked by the display of power, Lu Huiying asks who he really is. Enveloped in the golden light, Xu Jing repeats her question dramatically to build the mood. With a smirk on his face, he adjusts his glasses and tells the woman she can call him Set. Finally, a system screen appears in front of him, showing that the dual life state has been activated. Wasting no time, Xu Jing charges the woman with everything he's got, using his new strength. His punch is so strong that her bat can't take it, and the blow hits her square in the arm. The impact of the attack throws her violently against the wall, which shatters from the force of the hit. The woman is completely shocked by the speed and power of the guy who caught her by surprise. Before she can react, our main character lands another powerful punch right in her face. From there, he unleashes a sequence of fast and brutal punches, giving her no chance to fight back. Every blow lands perfectly, and the Rose Gang leader can't even defend herself from the barrage of hits. To finish the combo, our MC delivers a spinning kick that sends her flying. After the attack, Xu Jing looks at his hand and realizes that even with all that force, the woman is incredibly tough. The gang members' jaws are on the floor, wondering who this guy is that managed to take on their boss. But to everyone's surprise, a hand emerges from the rubble, showing that the fight isn't over yet. Lu Huiying rises from the debris with a look of pure rage and glares furiously at our main character. Suddenly, the crown on her head begins to glow with a dark and sinister energy. She becomes shrouded in a black aura, and with red eyes, she screams that he has really ticked her off. However, remains unfazed and, with a confident smile, thinks that this battle is awesome. Filled with hatred, Lu Huiying charges with her bat, yelling that she's going to turn our main character into a meat puddle. With that, she unleashes a powerful swing with the bat at the young man, who just watches her calmly. But our MC dodges it with ease and flicks her crown, which surprises her. The crown goes flying, and the flick lands squarely on the woman's head, making her scream in pain. From there, she's thrown backward and starts bleeding from her nose due to the force of the attack. Even injured, Lu Huiying flashes a sinister smile, showing her blood-covered teeth. Right after, she lunges forward and grabs him by the jacket, saying he won't get away this time. Faced with the situation, Shujing grabs her by the wrist and gives her a flick on the forehead to provoke her. His eyes glow with a blue light as he prepares to use a special technique to end the fight. Then, our main character uses his fingers to poke the woman's eyes with a quick and precise strike. The move works, and she stumbles back, covering her face while screaming desperately from the pain in her eyes. Standing in front of her, Shujing says that his master taught him that in a fight, anything goes to win. With that, he gets ready to kick her low, saying that a woman's weak spot is down there too. He lands the kick squarely, and the woman drops to her knees, groaning in pain, as Shujing steps back. Finally, our main character prepares to grab the crown from the ground and finish his mission once and for all. With a well-aimed kick, the woman screams in pain as the golden crown flies off her head. At that, Lu Huing collapses to the ground and is knocked out inside a small crater. Meanwhile, the crown of glory rolls across the destroyed floor until it stops near our main character. Shujing calmly adjusts his glasses as the gang members stand shocked by their boss's defeat. He then approaches the object and picks it up from the ground, as the system identifies it. As soon as the item is picked up, a notification pops up, informing him that the crown's divinity is being extracted. Right after, our main character snaps a photo and sends a message confirming the containment was a success. He then turns to the woman and says that her punishment for all her crimes won't be delivered by him. Instead, Shujing decides that the residents she tormented will be the ones to handle her punishment. At that moment, the divinity absorption speed increases, and our main character wonders why. Suddenly, a man in a suit approaches and calls out to the young man, asking what he's holding. Our MC is confused by the man's sudden appearance and doesn't understand what he wants. The suit and tie guy then orders Shujing to hand over the item, as he is not qualified to touch it. Our main character gets annoyed by the interruption and challenges the man, asking what happens if he refuses. With a furious look and one eye glowing red, the man warns him that he's asking for it. With his tech-enhanced eye, the man scans our main character and sees all of his combat stats. Despite being surprised by the kid's level, he smirks and says that Shujing is still way too weak. So, the man in the suit offers one last chance for the kid to hand over the crown peacefully. Our MC doesn't waste any time and tries to land a kick right where it counts again. The guy, however, blocks the attack and says he expected a dirty trick from a martial artist. Shujing is outraged, calling the guy a pervert for defending against that kind of move, and then he bolts. As he runs, he notices the enemy's body is strange and hard as if it were made of metal. Furious about the escape, the man in the suit punches the ground with all his might, destroying the asphalt around him. His fist glows with an insane amount of energy as he prepares to chase our main character. From there, the man in the suit lunges forward with a powerful punch aimed at Shujing to end the fight. Our MC manages to dodge at the last second and uses a kick to get away from the danger. After gaining some distance, he continues running down an alley to try and escape the man. He knows his opponent is too strong and decides he can't fight him for long. But the man in the suit is too fast and manages to catch up to our main character, grabbing him by the jacket. With a single motion, he throws Shujing with full force against a building wall. With his guard down, the man in the suit is caught by surprise by a dark energy that hits him squarely. Right after, black smoke starts to pour from his body, and he screams desperately in pain. Shujing's eyes glow red, and he doesn't seem to quite understand what's happening. From there, the man in the suit is completely engulfed by a purple aura and begins to disintegrate. Our main character is covered in a cloak of black flames and just watches the result of his new power. Right after the enemy falls, a system notification appears, granting him experience for the victory. Sitting on his opponent's body, Shujing receives more experience notifications for defeating someone stronger. With that, several of his skills level up at the same time, showing how much he grew during the battle. The system then reveals the name of his new power, which is called Shadow Flame. Looking closer, a strange metallic device is seen on the now defeated man's chest. Shujing realizes the enemy's body was covered by a very durable artificial skin. Because of this, he understands he only won because he attacked the man from the inside with his new ability. He then analyzes a rock that was hit by the flame and notices the damage depends on the target's density. At the same time, he notes that the flame is cold to the touch and doesn't seem to have the normal properties of fire. To his surprise, the black flame vanishes from his hand without leaving any injuries or burns. Our main character then remembers that the black flame is actually converted from the surrounding shadows. That he understands that with the sun coming up, the flame grew weaker because there were fewer shadows to draw from. Suddenly, the dark energy in his body disperses and completely vanishes into thin air. Shujing sees that the ability is gone and gets frustrated for not knowing its cooldown time. He decides to forget about it for now and figures he needs to explain the situation to his superior first. Meanwhile, in the city's southern district, we see a massive building that stands out in the urban landscape. Inside, a bizarre creature made of flesh and thorns writhes in a dark and sinister room. Before the monster, a man with long hair watches it with a serious and imposing expression. He then touches the creature and asks someone named Pingping if he knows why he's there. We then see a bandaged up Duan Caping, who replies that he knows he was warned not to cause trouble. The flesh creature splatters a black liquid on Duan's arm, leaving him confused. Right after, the long-haired man squeezes the young man's arm tightly, showing his anger. He grabs Duan's head and asks why he disobeyed him even though he knew the consequences. With his eyes glowing with hatred, the man asks if his disciple has gotten tired of living. The desperate Duan Caping throws himself to the floor and begs his master to forgive him for his mistake. The master then calms down and, with a serious look, tells Duan Caping to get off the floor. From there, he asks about 2 people he sent out, and the flesh creature replies that they were destroyed. He questions if the culprit was the White Crow, but Duan reveals that one of his men was injured by a young man. Hearing the news, the master is shocked and, with a furious look, wonders who this young man is. Duan Caping then explains that the guy's name is Xu Jing and that there's nothing special about him. The man explodes with rage, yelling that it's impossible for an ordinary person to defeat his men like that. He continues his tantrum, saying that his test subjects aren't perfect, but no normal person could beat them. With that, the master orders the creature to go capture the boy so he can feed him to the mother of insects. With a sick smile, he reveals his plan to dominate the entire planet with his monstrous children. Meanwhile, our main character is in an elevator, worrying about the mess he caused on the mission. He decides to forget about it and thinks that, in the worst-case scenario, he'll make up for his mistake with his merits. And so, the elevator reaches the 7th floor, and the doors open for our main character. Zhu Shanning is waiting for him and apologizes for not foreseeing the situation and leaving him alone in danger. Our main character is completely shocked by the apology and doesn't know how to react. To compensate, she says she'll raise the mission's rank to C+, and even give him an extra reward. Our main character feels awkward with her reaction and says it's okay, as he didn't expect this from her. As they walk down a hallway, Zhu Shanning informs him that the identity of the man he fought has been confirmed. With the file in hand, she reveals the man's name was Zhu Yingkan, an expert from the rival shoe company. Now sitting at a table, our main character questions the story about personal conduct, finding it all very suspicious. He wonders what reason a man would have for wanting the villainess's crown of glory, since it makes no sense. To explain the situation, Zhu Shanning points to a map on the table, getting his attention. The map shows the enormous distance between the shoe company and the incident's location, which makes their story very weird. She suspects there's more to this story and asks our main character to leave the case with her for now. Agreeing with her, Xu Jing hands over the crown and asks if she wants her glasses back. Blushing, Zhu Shanning tells him to keep the glasses, as he might need them on the next mission. Changing the subject, she points to the autopsy report on the table. The woman reveals the report is bizarre, as all of the man's organs simply vanished, and she asks how he did it. Our main character remembers his shadow flame and thinks it's better to keep that ability a secret. With a charming look, he asks if he can choose not to answer and slowly starts taking off the glasses. The tactic works and Zhu Shanning is left completely speechless by the young man's charm, as if struck by Cupid's arrow. Zhu Shanning says he doesn't have to tell her his secret and that the glasses are a divine artifact. Our main character gets thoughtful and decides to change the subject, asking about something else. He shows a golden card she gave him and asks what the object is for. The woman explains that it's a containment card and will make his future missions much easier. Xu Jing cracks a smile and asks if this means he's now part of the official team. Zhu Shanning snaps her fingers and confirms that he's right and is now an official member. Furthermore, she reveals that all the data in the library will be completely open to him. From there, the young woman says she has work to do and asks him to explore the place on his own. Our main character then waves goodbye to her as he watches her leave the area. Xu Jing gets excited and thinks he might find clues about the cat tail ring. He enters the library, which is a massive and impressive server room. Walking down the aisle, our main character is amazed and says the place is a world of its own. Looking around, he sees that each server has a different identification code. One of the shelves, he picks up a file about a relic he's never seen before. However, when he tries to access it and insufficient permission, message pops up, leaving him confused. He then tries to access another file, but the same error message appears on his screen again. From there, he runs through the library, trying to view several different files, but the result is always the same. Tired of running, our main character gets angry at the situation and complains that the woman tricked him. Xu Jing then thinks that maybe even the ring requires permission, and decides to find the file first. After a bit of searching, he finally finds the file for the cat tail ring on the shelf. With his hands clasped as if in prayer, our main character hopes the system will grant him access. To his surprise, the tactic works and a notification of data opened appears right in front of him. With a relieved smile, our main character celebrates his success and is happy with the result. But the system warns him that the ring's level is B, and only 2 layers of data will be open to him. Despite the warning, our main character sits at a table to read the information calmly. Reading the file, he discovers that the ring allows a person to turn into a cat after a month of use. An image in the book shows a cat goddess and says a doctor started a cult after seeing the ring. Our main character is confused by the information and repeats the group's name to himself. From there, he starts flipping through the documents, looking for more information about this cult. In one of the photos, he sees a giant crack, and the text says that rifts appeared when a god passed away. The document reveals that by exploring the rifts, people found tools to communicate with gods. This led to the rise of cults that prayed for power, and those who received gifts were called vessels. Our main character finally understands the meaning of the term and is shocked by the revelation. And so, he continues reading the book to find out more about the history behind these groups. 200 years ago, a cult tried to contact the goddess Bastet, but the deity never answered their call. From that point on, the situation only changed when one of the cult's followers finally managed to use the ring. Because of this, the object turned him into a cat, and he finally received the goddess's blessing. But the book reveals that the blessing wasn't for the believer, but for the ring, which became even more powerful. With the fusion, the wielder begins to gain Bastet's powers until they become the goddess herself in the end. For this reason, the Lion Sage cult will try to eliminate the current wielder to get the ring back. Our main character understands the gravity of the situation and realizes they want to take out Ningfangna. He then remembers the cat telling him to train and understands it was to prepare for this danger. If he hadn't gotten strong so quickly, the two of them would have been easily defeated by the cult. Our main character then finds a page that talks about the cat ring's fusion condition. The book says the first fusion requires an emotional stimulus, and the wielder has to repeat it. Our main character becomes thoughtful upon reading that an intense emotional stimulus is needed for the fusion. From there, he remembers the day he gave Ningfangna a bath when she was just a little kitten. With his visualization ability, he imagines the cat transforming into a girl with ears and a tail. Faced with the scene, our main character turns bright red and thinks the image is a bit too realistic for him. He panics at the thought of having to do that to Ningfangna every time for her to become human. With an awkward smile, Xu Jing wonders how he's going to explain this condition to the girl. At that moment, he finds a page in the book that talks about the ring's side effects. To his relief, the book says there are no bad effects, and the only concern is the Lion Sage cult. He gets frustrated for not finding answers to his questions since his clearance level is too low. Suddenly, his phone vibrates in his pocket, and he pulls it out to see the notification. Our main character is shocked to see he received a transfer of over 200,000 into his account. With a smile on his face, he thinks about all the food he can buy and how he'll have more time to train. So, he decides to cook a special meal and tell Ningfangna about the condition afterward. 5 days later, we see a table full of food, and the cat is enjoying a feast. While eating a chicken leg, Ningfangna asks why he's been so extravagant with the money. With an awkward smile, our main character tells the cat that he used to be rich once. He then explains that he learned a new tremor armor technique from the Dojo master. During the intense training, he needs to use an oxygen mask to handle the strain. On top of that, after each session, a medicinal bath is required, which costs 40,000 per session. Because of this, his balance dropped from 200,000 to 8,000, and he complains about the unexpected expense. Ningfangna gets furious and asks why there's so little money left, as they should have over 30,000. Faced with the scolding, our main character looks embarrassed and hides his face with his hand on the table. The cat then calms down and, though embarrassed, tells him to save the remaining money. She explains that he'll still need potions, weapons, and expensive clothes that cost a fortune. And so, Ningfangna says that buying fancy ingredients just once a month is more than enough. Our main character realizes he needs money and thinks of a way to get cash fast. Faced with the situation, he pulls his phone out of his pocket to look for a solution. With that, the young man sends a message to a friend asking for a gig, and his friend invites him to the dojo. Our main character looks at his phone screen and gets ready for the new challenge that awaits him. At that moment, he turns around and sees the cat devouring everything and yells at her to leave some for him. In a bustling city, our main character prepares for a new challenge. Back at the Hidden Dragon Dojo, he watches one of his peers training intensely. His eyes glow with a golden energy as he concentrates for his turn. With a swift movement, he unleashes a new ability, and the system notifies him of the unlock. Watching the training, his green-haired friend is impressed with the guy's progress in just 5 days. A girl with pigtails shyly approaches and invites him for a strength test. His friend encourages him to join the test, but our main character seems a bit hesitant. The green-haired guy then says it's a great chance for him to show the results of his training. Given the insistence, Shujing takes a step forward and decides to accept the challenge. He positions himself in front of a punching bag and gets ready to show his strength. Some students mock him, telling him not to overdo it, but the girl with pigtails defends him. Wasting no time, our main character calmly throws a direct punch at the punching bag. Seeing the weak punch, the other students start laughing and ask if he's afraid of getting hurt. Suddenly, the punching bag starts to bulge and tear from the inside in a bizarre way. Right after, the bag explodes and the strength meter hits the 9,999 mark. Faced with the result, the other students' jaws drop, and they wonder what the heck just happened. With a confident smile, our main character explains that the technique he used is called soft force. He says the secret is to concentrate the power in one point and make it explode inside the target. The girl with pigtails thanks him for the lesson while one of the students glares at him with envy. Jealous, the guy sends one of his buddies to get a new punching bag from the storage room. The green-haired friend then offers him a bodyguard job for an important person. Confused, our main character takes a card his friend hands him with the information. From there, he sees that the job is at a luxury hotel, and the reward is 800,000. The amount shines in his eyes, and the young man is completely hypnotized by the payment value. With dollar signs in his eyes, our main character begs his friend to let him do the job. And so, a luxury car pulls up in front of a fancy hotel, and the door opens for the young man. Dressed in formal attire, our main character steps out of the car and walks into the hotel with confidence. Inside, some men watch him and wonder if he isn't too young to be security. Our main character cracks a smile and thinks that his older sisters were right about the clothes. In a flashback, one of his sisters points at his clothes and asks if he's really going to dress like that. The woman continues her lecture, saying that clothes make the man, and if he dresses poorly, he'll be looked down upon. That she shows him a fancy red suit and says she's already prepared the outfit for the occasion. Our main character complains that the suit is too flashy and says he's not going on a blind date. He turns his face away and refuses to accept the girl's gift, who seems very insistent on the idea. At that moment, another sister appears with a black outfit, and the first one gets very annoyed. With a smile, our main character says the second sister's taste is much better than the first's. Back at the hotel, two women are totally drooling over him, commenting on his good looks. Meanwhile, a guy in a beanie wonders if the dojo took on a new disciple. The big guy next to him scoffs, saying he's just a pretty boy and probably isn't strong. The guy in the white suit explains that the Dragon King would only accept a prodigy as his seventh disciple. He notices the young man's walk and sees that his steps are firm and his body is well controlled. The man remembers the dojo's 6 disciples but can't recognize this new kid. But he says that even with good technique, the kid would lose to 100 men, and his friend gets annoyed by that. The guy in the beanie gets angry and gives up arguing, saying it's useless talking to a myth head. Right after, a hotel employee calls out to him and asks if he's the security for the party. With a confident smile, our main character introduces himself as Shu Jing from the Hidden Dragon Dojo. The hotel employee greets him and unfolds a map to explain the job details. From there, he points to the stage area and says Shu Jing will be responsible for that sector. Holding the map, our main character thinks that with so many guards, no one would dare cause trouble. The man says the extra security is just a precaution and says goodbye to get back to work. Our main character, however, is suspicious of the situation and finds it strange they hired 6 masters. On top of that, he notices the place is swarming with professional bodyguards everywhere. Looking up at the ceiling, he notes that the number of security cameras is much higher than usual. With this, Shu Jing feels that something is very wrong and that where there's smoke, there's fire. He then wonders what heck is going to happen here to require so much security. At that moment, the big guy in the white suit approaches and asks if he's the dojo's new disciple. Our main character turns to the man with a serious expression and asks who he is. The big guy introduces himself as Li Jiaoquan from the Tiger Soul Dojo and says he doesn't want trouble. But he releases an intimidating aura and suggests they test each other's level as colleagues. Faced with the provocation, our main character remains unfazed and calmly asks how they're going to do that. The big guy proposes a test of strength, and our main character accepts the challenge on the spot. Shu Jing realizes the guy is doubting him and sees this as a good chance to test himself. Suddenly, a guy with spiky hair appears and is shocked to see our main character there. A woman next to the redhead asks if he knows the guy and who he's betting on. At that moment, a man with purple hair approaches and says he's betting on the young man without hesitation. The woman then teases the redhead, reminding him that last time, the big guy made him scream in pain. Meanwhile, a young woman in the crowd comments that she doesn't see any movement and thinks the kid is going to lose. The purple-haired man, however, says there is movement, but normal people can't see it. He analyzes the contest and explains that although the kid looks weak, his body is as hard as steel. With a smile, he asks the redhead to introduce our main character to him after the contest. Looking at the scene, the redhead wonders how Shu Jing got so strong in such a short time. The big guy releases a purple aura and scoffs at the kid, telling him to go home and sleep. Our main character feels the force of the grip and realizes the man must have trained a lot. With a smirk, Shu Jing thinks that his opponent is still no match for him. From there, he shows his power and says that compared to him, the big guy is still weak. The big guy is completely shocked and wonders what the heck is going on. With his eyes glowing red, our main character releases a fiery aura and stares him down. Li Xiaoquan starts to sweat, realizing he can no longer suppress the kid's strength. With that, he groans in pain as our main character watches him with a very calm smile. Suddenly, the sound of cracking bones echoes through the hall, and the handshake breaks with a snap. Our main character is startled by the noise and realizes he might have overdone it a bit. Li Xiaoquan pulls back his bright red hand, and Xu Jing asks if he's okay after the handshake. The big guy forces a laugh and praises the kid's strength, saying he's impressed. So, he makes up an excuse about going to the bathroom and says his goodbyes to escape the situation. From there, the man in the white suit walks down a hallway, trying to maintain his tough guy persona. But as soon as he's alone, he explodes in pain, holding his crushed hand with tears in his eyes. Crouching on the floor, he curses the kid and wonders what kind of monster he really is. Back in the hall, Xu Jing thinks about the sound of breaking bone, and someone calls his name. Hearing the voice, our main character turns to see who's calling him. To his surprise, he sees Pi Yuguang, the redhead, approaching with a wave and a smile. In the stage area, Xu Jing comments that the guy is some rich young master, but the redhead denies it. And so, our main character gets straight to the point and asks what the guy wants with him. Pei Yuguang explains that his older brother thought the fight was incredible and really wants to meet him. From a distance, the purple-haired man raises a glass in a toast, and our main character looks at him intently. With that, the redhead points to a group of rich women who are waving at him with heart eyes. Our main character turns down the invitation because he's working but says he doesn't see a problem with it. From there, he says that if someone wants him, they should fight for it, not send messages. With that said, he walks away, and the redhead is left with his mouth wide open, thinking about how cool he is. Having learned their lesson, the crowd of women runs after the young man to get what they want. A blonde woman then catches up to him with her phone in hand and, with a smile, asks to exchange contacts. Right after, several other women surround him as a delivery guy passes by with a cart. Our main character gets annoyed and finds the delivery guy strange since the manager didn't mention him. The blonde woman doesn't give up and grabs him by the arm, insisting that he add her anyway. With a provocative look, the woman winks and says she'll tell him lots of interesting things. Worn down, Xu Jing takes out his phone while the delivery guy watches him from a distance. The mysterious man presses a red button on a detonator, activating a device. Inside a box, a red light blinks and emits an intense glow that spreads out. Suddenly, Xu Jing's phone gives him a shock, and he wonders if the device is leaking electricity. Our main character looks at his phone and realizes something very strange is happening. In the hall, the lights suddenly go out, and all the guests panic from the blackout. A man tries to turn on his phone's flashlight, but complains that the battery is dead. Our main character finds this strange and says his phone was fully charged before the blackout. He realizes that no phones are working and that everything related to electricity has failed. With this, Xu Jing understands it was an electromagnetic pulse and wonders why they used it. Right after, all the windows in the hall shatter with a deafening noise, and shards of glass fly everywhere. The blonde woman gets scared and grabs him tightly as our main character realizes something has happened. In the banquet area, people wonder what the noise was and if it was breaking glass. Someone tries to calm everyone down and realizes that one of his friends, who was next to him, is gone. The purple-haired man lights a lighter and tells everyone to stay together, back to back. Following young Master Pei's order, all the guests group together to protect themselves from the danger. Suddenly, a creaking sound gets their attention, and someone points to a sinister figure in the doorway. Before they could react, one of the guests is attacked from behind and lets out a scream of pain. The victim is dragged into the darkness, and someone yells that President Zhang has been taken. In his place, only a pool of blood remains, and the guests panic at the scene. From there, chaos ensues, and everyone starts running desperately for their lives. Young Master Pei yells for no one to run because it's dangerous and tries to control the situation. At that moment, something zips past him at high speed, grazing his face. With his hand covered in blood, the young man realizes he's been hurt and is shocked by the attack. Faced with the danger, he prepares to fight amidst the overturned chairs in total chaos. And so, the young master lunges forward with a powerful punch towards a shadow in the darkness. Punch hits the ground hard, kicking up a huge cloud of dust and showing the young man's strength. After the attack, he gets up and stays on alert for any suspicious movement in the area. But in the blink of an eye, he's thrown to the ground, and his younger brother screams in despair. Master Pei is then pierced in the chest by a sharp arm, and his brother is in shock. With a face full of pain and surprise, he stares at the wound, unable to believe what just happened. A shadowy creature with sharp claws emerges from the chaos of the party hall. Seeing the monster, the redhead yells at his brother that they need to get out of there as fast as possible. But the creature is too fast, and the young man realizes it's too late to escape. And so, our main character charges forward with a powerful kick aimed at the mysterious creature. The blow lands squarely and causes an explosion that sends the monster flying. After the attack, Xu Jing observes the enemy and wonders what kind of bizarre monster it is. The creature then reveals itself to be a giant insect monster and emerges from the wall with a terrifying roar. With its glowing red eyes, the creature makes a bizarre and sinister chewing sound. Our main character recognizes the creature and realizes his training paid off to be able to defeat it. The guests are shocked by his strength and notice that all the other security guards have fled. Pei Yuguang runs towards him and thanks him for saving his life and his brother's. Xu Jing, however, stops him and warns him not to get any closer, as the monster isn't defeated yet. Suddenly, the creature bursts out of the wall with even more force and prepares to attack again. He notices the creature's vitality has increased and decides to test its strength once more. Finally, our main character thinks it's not worth risking his life for so little money. Without hesitation, our main character lands a direct punch on the monster's head, which makes a cracking sound. The impact of the blow is so strong that the creature is thrown far away and flies across the hall. With his eyes glowing, he says that moving in the dark isn't a trick exclusive to that creature. From there, the system shows that his shadow flame has given him a night vision ability. Our main character complains that if he had known this earlier, he would have used it to make the fight easier. With his improved vision, the fight resumes and sparks fly everywhere with the exchange of blows. The big guy is shocked by the fight, but the young master says it's not a draw. He explains that although it looks like Xu Jing is just dodging, he hasn't retreated a single step. With this, the young master realizes that our main character is actually protecting all of them. Faced with the situation, the big guy tells everyone to get out so they don't get in the way and to call the police. Seeing everyone escape safely, our main character thinks he can finally fight for real. With a confident smile, he taunts the monster and says that now he'll keep it company. The creature prepares for combat and faces him with its red eyes glowing in the darkness. And so, the monster lunges with a quick attack, and our main character barely manages to dodge it. But the blow grazes him and he realizes the creature has become much faster than before. The monster prepares to attack once more and charges at our main character with everything it's got. With a sinister smile and glowing red eyes, the creature seems confident in its victory. Suddenly, Xu Jing finds himself in a dark place and wonders what the heck is happening. He starts falling into an abyss and questions if he might already be gone. Our main character can't believe he was taken out by a cockroach man and thinks something went very wrong. As he falls, a hand of golden energy catches him, and he's confused by the situation. From there, an energy dragon appears, and our main character feels like he's seen it somewhere before. Back in reality, the monster pins him to the ground and prepares to deliver the final blow. But the creature realizes something is different and is surprised by the change in energy. And so, a golden aura explodes from Xu Jing's body, protecting him from the creature's attack. His eyes glow with a golden energy as he prepares to show off his new power. He uses the hidden dragon style and says he'll return the attack an eye for an eye. Our main character then uses his special technique, and a blast of energy hits the monster. The blow is so powerful that the creature is completely obliterated, and its pieces fly across the hall. Looking at his hand, Xu Jing realizes he just discovered something simply incredible. Our main character hears a strange noise and realizes the fight isn't really over yet. To his surprise, the creature gets up even without its head, and he's reminded of a cockroach's resilience. He thinks that these bugs can live for days even without a head and needs to find a way to end this. With that, the young man figures out the cockroach's weak spot is somewhere else and attacks with full force. From there, he rips out the creature's vital point and is shocked by its bizarre size. Hiding behind the tables, the guests finally realize the monster is defeated and celebrate. The news spreads through the hotel, and everyone finds out that someone managed to defeat the creature. In light of this feat, the guests want to sponsor him and ask young Master Pei to introduce them. Meanwhile, the guy in the beanie teases the big guy for having provoked someone so strong. Li Xiaoquan admits that our main character didn't even use 1% of his strength and was still merciful with him. Xu Jing senses that the attack wasn't just a simple accident, and the redhead notices he's injured. A man with green hair approaches and asks what he meant by that. The man introduces himself as the host of the banquet and questions if the young man thinks it was all planned. Our main character explains that the blackout was caused by an electromagnetic pulse and was entirely on purpose. With a serious look, he concludes that the goal of the attack was to eliminate all the guests at the event. Faced with this revelation, the host gets furious and says his father will investigate this attack. Our main character, however, looks at him and questions why he insisted on the banquet even knowing the danger. One of the guests comments that the host is hiding something and wonders about the reason for the attack. With that, Xu Jing warns everyone that the danger isn't over yet and they need to get out of there fast. And so, the guests begin to evacuate the area, and the host asks them to proceed calmly. The man then asks if our main character knows what the monster was, and he dodges the question right away. Xu Jing realizes he's being tested and understands the situation is much more complicated than it seems. Now safe, the guests call their families, while the system notifies our main character. From there, several notifications of experience and leveled up skills pop up in front of him. Right after, his chest wound begins to heal on its own in a very bizarre way. Our main character is shocked to see that all his injuries have simply vanished. He then realizes his stats were fully restored because he leveled up in the fight. The system offers a specialization, and he wonders if it's related to his new technique. Without a second thought, Shujing accepts the offer and hits the confirmation button on the screen. A green aura envelopes him, and he's curious to know what this new sensation of power feels like. He feels his power flowing like never before and says it's like rusty parts being oiled. Faced with the situation, our main character realizes this is a very rare opportunity for him. With that, the young man decides to take advantage of the moment to train his tremor armor technique. Meanwhile, young Master P guides some nurses and asks where the injured are. Looking to the side, the young man is completely shocked by the scene he sees in the hall. Sitting on a couch, Shujing meditates peacefully as a dragon's aura surrounds him. Sometime later, back at the Hidden Dragon Dojo, night has already fallen over the city. One of his older sisters is applying medicine to him and comments on his bad luck with the bodyguard mission. The dojo master says accidents are normal, and the young man asks if he knows what the monster was. Mangbosang reveals he doesn't know the details, but thinks the creature came from the borderlands. Our main character then remembers the rift that appeared and wonders what the heck is inside it. The master calms him down, saying that just surviving was lucky, and he even learned a new technique. Shujing, however, reveals that he seems to have grasped the true essence of the hidden dragon style. The revelation shocks everyone, and the dojo master stands up from his wheelchair in surprise. From there, Mangbosang approaches and holds the young man's arm to check his condition. With his hand on the young man's chest, Mangbosang analyzes him intently and is completely shocked by what he feels. The dojo master then asks if our main character has created a dragon, and his sister is confused by the conversation. Laughing loudly, Mangbosang explains to the girl that her younger brother has created a dragon inside his body. Shujing asks what this dragon is, and the master says it's not an illusion but a spiritual force. He explains that the essence of his style is to nurture this inner dragon instead of just training. From there, the master reveals that our main character has already found the key to breaking his limits. Confused, Shujing kneels and asks the master what exactly breaking the limit means. The dojo master explains that the human body has limits and breaking them elevates one's level of existence. Our main character understands that despite the human appearance, the essence of life becomes something non-human. Those who achieve this are called immortals and can live for 150 years in their prime. Jing looks at the master's legs and thinks he had an accident but is reassured by the old man. The risk of failure has been reduced, and now it's just about effort, and our main character thanks him for the help. The older sister then asks why the master aged if he was so strong in the past. With a dark look, Mangbosang reveals it was because the dragon he created was killed by someone. Faced with the shocking revelation, Shujing and his sister are left completely speechless and frightened. The dojo master begins to recount that in his youth, he was arrogant and didn't know the vastness of the world. In a flashback, we see the younger master stepping on a defeated man while boasting about his strength. Since his enemies couldn't defeat him, they decided to attack Mangbosang's wife and daughter. Blinded by rage, the young master set off on a journey of revenge without caring about the consequences. Several people tried to stop him, but he wasn't afraid and defeated everyone who dared to cross his path. With a sick smile and covered in blood, he felt invincible, but his comeuppance was on its way. Suddenly, a powerful guy broke his legs and destroyed the dragon in his heart, leaving him crippled. To avoid their enemies and protect his family, they fled and opened the Hidden Dragon Dojo. With a serious look, our main character asks if his master doesn't wish to get revenge on his enemies. Mangbosang explains that his enemies are from the northern district, and that just one of them is hard to deal with. With a smile, he tells the young man to forget about it, and that if he ever becomes strong enough, they can talk. The scene then changes to a dark and deserted street in the middle of the night, with the moon shining in the sky. Back home, our main character walks up the stairs and pulls out his phone to check his messages. On the screen, he sees a notification for 800,000 in his account and is surprised by how fast the hotel paid. With a bag in his hand, Shujing opens the door to his home and announces he's back to whoever is inside. Our main character enters the house and calls for the cat, but realizes she's not there and wonders where she went. With his eyes glowing blue, he activates his visualization ability to try and find her. He sees several cat-like shadows running around and thinks the cat is having a lot of fun. One of the shadows then notices his presence and asks if he happens to be heading out somewhere. Faced with the situation, our main character runs to the window to see where the cat has gotten herself into this time. Outside, his vision shows Ningfangna in her cat form, cornered by two very suspicious shadows. Seeing the scene, he becomes desperate and realizes the cat is in very serious danger. To avoid their enemies and protect his family, they fled and opened the Hidden Dragon Dojo. With a serious look, our main character asks if his master doesn't wish to get revenge on his enemies. Mang Bosong explains that his enemies are from the Northern District, and that just one of them is hard enough to deal with. With a smile, he tells the young man to forget about it, and that if he ever becomes strong enough, they can talk. The scene then shifts to a dark, deserted street in the middle of the night, with the moon shining brightly in the sky. Back home, our main character walks up the stairs and pulls out his phone to check his messages. On the screen, he sees a notification for an $800,000 deposit into his account and is surprised by how quickly the hotel paid up. With a bag in hand, Shu Jing opens the door to his place and announces that he's home to whoever might be inside. Our main character enters the house and calls for the cat, but when he realizes she's not there, he starts to wonder where she could have gone. With his eyes glowing blue, he activates his visualization ability to try and find her. From there, he sees several cat-like shadows running around and figures the cat is just having a good time. One of the shadows then notices his presence and asks if he happens to be heading out somewhere. Faced with the situation, our main character rushes to the window to see what the cat has gotten herself into this time. Outside, his vision shows Ningfangna in her cat form, cornered by two very suspicious shadows. Seeing the scene, he panics, realizing that the cat is in some serious danger.